You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Andrea Lutz. Ahead tonight, day 6 of a Missoula murder trial provided a ton of intrigue when a forensics expert came to the stand in court. And of course, we'll have the details on that story. Plus, Montana's first African-American mayor made history. Again, he is looking to make a run for the United States Senate. We've got that story ahead. But first, the school board is still meeting, trying to decide a new mascot and the school colors for the new Bozeman Gallatin High School. New at 9 tonight, Bozeman Superintendent Rob Watson recommends the Raptors as the mascot and blue and black as the school colors. Raptors was the overwhelming favorite among students. Those in the meeting, they then debated the pros and cons of the Raptors versus Mountaineers. Mountaineers was a community favorite in the last poll. However, the most recent poll, Raptors took the lead in the community vote over Mountaineers by 17 votes. Our team in Bozeman is working on this story right now, trying to get the final results. And of course, we'll keep you posted as we hear. Montana Senator Steve Daines has his first Democratic challenger in the 2020 Senate race, Helena Mayor Wilmot Collins. Well, tonight, MTN's Jonathan Anbarian looks at Collins' past, his future, and his campaign plans.
Wilmot Collins said as Helena's mayor, he's seen the importance of listening to the people he represents. He said he wants to bring that philosophy to Washington, D.C. as a U.S. Senator.
For far too long and far too often, we have had politicians representing us in D.C. and not public servants.
Collins officially launched a campaign for Senate Monday in downtown Helena. He's the first Democratic candidate to file for the race. If he wins the nomination, he will likely face Republican Senator Steve Daines. Collins is a child protection specialist with the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services and a former member of the U.S. Navy Reserve. He began his political career in 2017 when he defeated Helena's longtime incumbent mayor, Jim Smith, becoming the first black mayor officially elected in Montana. His win drew national attention. Collins came to Montana in the 1990s as a refugee from the Civil War in Liberia. He said he's grateful for the way the state welcomed him and his family.
You gave my family an amazing life, which is why I wake up every morning finding new ways to serve and exemplify my internal gratitude for this great state and nation.
Collins says his campaign will focus on issues like reforming the campaign finance system, expanding health care coverage, and improving veterans services. He says he plans to campaign in every part of the state.
Not only Helena, not only Billings, not only Missoula, not only Great Falls, Montana needs representation, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to visit with them, I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to take their issues and make their issues my issues for Washington.
In Helena, Jonathan Anbarian, MTN News.
And the Montana Republican Party released a statement on Collins entering the Senate race. It says in part, Wilmot Collins is just another liberal Democrat who will be a rubber stamp for the far left's radical agenda. Governor Steve Bullock released a pair of videos that all but confirm he is running for president in 2020. Take a look.
Two-term governor of a state that President Trump won by 20 points.
This weird creature from outer space, a Democrat that wins in rural red America.
Oh, that's right. The video goes on to tout Bullock's accomplishments and highlights the fact that he is the only Democratic candidate in the race to win in a state that President Donald Trump also won. In video teases the announcement, it's going to be made pretty soon, and sources close to MTN confirm that Bullock will announce a presidential run sometime this week. Montana may house migrant children separated from their parents. This is the new news coming out of the Great Falls area. State officials are considering Malmstrom Air Force Base as a temporary emergency shelter for children who enter the United States illegally without a parent. Malmstrom would only be used if it's an urgency, if they need a place. The situation, though, will not impact military readiness. A Great Falls student is suspended tonight after police say a threat forced school officials to take extra precautions with law enforcement. The threat happened on Saturday from a student on social media about another student. School officials say the student will undergo a threat assessment, I should say, before being allowed back in school.
It's a series of interviews that we do with people who know the student, with the student themselves, or family, teachers, other folks, and try to get to the bottom of what's going on with the individual. We'll have an administrative hearing where we look at the district level as far as how are we going to deal with the student moving forward with their education.
Police and school officials are still investigating the threat from the original anonymous post on social media, in addition to everything that's been going on. As the number of whooping cough cases in Missoula County continues to rise, the Missoula Health Department says they are looking to hire up to 6 new nurses to help with the outbreak. There are now over 100 confirmed cases in 18 schools across the county. The sickness has reached every age with almost 2,000 identified close contacts. The county is seeing up to 15 new cases a day.
It's definitely still spreading. We're definitely seeing it all over the community. We're just hoping that we can get through the end of the school year and get these kids not congregating all in one room, coughing on each other, and then maybe we can start to see a decline.
And health officials expect the outbreak to calm down once school lets out for the summer. Montana, along with 43 other states, is filing a lawsuit over price fixing among generic drugs. The lawsuit claims there's a conspiracy among manufacturers to manipulate prices and reduce competition. The case covers capsules and even contraceptives. Officials say prices increase were over 1,000% in some of those cases. The lawsuit is seeking damages. New information tonight about a possible plastic bag ban at some of Missoula's largest retail stores. The ordinance will be patterned after one that was implemented in Park City, Utah. That law says large retailers can't distribute disposable single-use plastic bags to customers, and says reusable bags should be made available to customers. New information tonight out of Cut Bank Police. They're continuing to investigate a recent officer-involved shooting. On Sunday, law enforcement responded to a residence for a report of a domestic disturbance. The man and a deputy exchanged gunfire, but neither were hit. The man eventually was taken into custody. It was day 6 of a trial for a transgendered Frenchtown woman accused of killing her 2 former roommates. Today, a forensic expert testified that the FBI search of the crime scene wasn't done properly, also saying agents didn't use the proper tools or document the search, and errors left evidence undiscovered until a second search.
I can't tell you a lot about what they did because there's not much documentation on it. Really, the only documentation is a single sentence saying that the soil was screened. It doesn't say how it was removed. It doesn't even say what kind of tools were used. It doesn't say if it was photographed. It doesn't say if the convenience was documented or the contacts. There's really not much that wasn't right, frankly.
And also this today in court, a former cellmate of the defendant, Caressa Hardy, testified that Hardy confessed the murders and angrily described wishing that she wouldn't have let the witness of the crime go free.
Oh, it's the first time I've seen Hardy this angry. He was furious at Karen. He said I should have let her.
He was furious then?
Furious at Karen and stated I shouldn't let her go. I should have done her too. But I understood that he meant killed. It was the most horrid stench you could ever imagine. He said that he put the bodies in a truck and moved it to the pit. And that he'll never forget the smell of death.
The defense speculates the victims are not actually dead, but rather fled the country for tax evasion. Well, tonight, a flood warning is issued for those living along Missoula's Clark Fork River. This is for those living in the Orchard Homes area. Those residents saw record flooding just last spring. Some already preparing for the floodwaters as they rise with sandbags. It has been a long time coming, but water is being pumped out of the Berkeley Pit in Butte to stop the rise of toxic water. MTN's John Amy gives us a look at the project.
For 37 years, the toxic water in Butte's Berkeley Pit has been rising. But a new pumping system at Montana Resources that went online last week has put a stop to the rising water.
The whole Berkeley Pit system's been filling up with water flowing into it, since 1982. Since last week, that's the first time that the Berkeley Pit system has not had a net inflow of water into it.
2 pumping stations recently installed at MR are pulling water from the pit and taking some of that water to the Horseshoe Bend treatment plant and the rest to the tailings impoundment for temporary storage.
We measure as inflow to the Berkeley Pit is about 2.8 million gallons a day. So we're pumping 3 million gallons per day right now, and we'll see what impact that has.
The Atlantic Richfield Company, which started the Berkeley Pit, is building a polishing plant off Continental Drive to help purify some of the pit water and remove it from the Montana Resources property.
They're building a series of filters that water comes out of the tailings impoundment, goes to their filter plant, gets its final polishing, final filtration, and then goes to Silverbow Creek.
The polishing plant is expected to be ready by July. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Montana Resources and Atlantic Richfield were ordered to stop the rising pit water by 2023. Still ahead on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news, flames overtake a historic Catholic church in Kalispell, and now church leaders are trying to figure out how to move forward with Mass. We'll take a look ahead. And coming up next, Bob McGuire tells us if the beautiful weather is going to stick around for much of the state. His full forecast is on the way.